All right, I'm gonna wrap the passenger side fender on my S13 right now. I already measured the fender and cut a piece of vinyl that's a little bit longer on both ends than what I need, so I have something to grab onto for doing the stretching. You always have to stretch on a fender because there's so much curve to it. You can't just lay it down flat and squeegee. So I'll get it in place, make sure I have my extra on each end. Gonna be pretty close here. I bought just enough material to wrap this car completely, so I have to make everything pretty exact. Maybe not recommended if you're new. All right, I get it in place and tap down one end with my magnets. Luckily the headlight covers are magnetic, so I can stick things there too in just a minute. Carefully start pulling the backing paper off. I'll tack it down on this end and also use my magnet as a backup. Magnets off, pull the rest of the backing paper out from behind. Ideally, you would take off the wheels for this, but I don't really care about that. If you're new, you probably do want to take the wheels off just to have as little extra tension and as little stuff in the way as possible. It's not necessary though. I'll cut out around the tire. You can also cut out the tire spot with the backing paper still on, but I don't know, it doesn't really matter which order you do it in. All right. So I like to stretch horizontally first, and I'll get some wrinkles running that direction. You can see I'm just a little bit here. Come back over to the other side, do the same thing. With no bumper, I don't really have anything to tack it down on the bottom, so whatever, it's fine. So now I have a little bit of wrinkles running side to side. Whenever you want to get rid of wrinkles, you pull like straight across, adjacent, I think would be the right word. Boom, all those horizontal lines, gone. I'll do it to this side too. Boom, boom. We have some going a little bit diagonal here, so I'll pull across that way. Gone. You want to do most of the work before you ever use a tool. The squeegee is really just for the final tacking down of the material most of the time, at least on a simple panel like this. Now I still have some going sideways here, so I'll pull straight down. Those are gone. Still have a little bit up here. Almost side to side, but a little bit of a slant. So I'll pull almost straight up, but a little bit that way. Those are gone. There's a little left because it's tacked on up here, but I'm not too worried about that. That'll squeegee away, no problem. Okay, still have some side to side here on the front of the fender. I'll pull straight down, get rid of those. And now we pretty much have glass all across, and I can start squeegeeing to really get it stuck down to the fender. With most things vinyl related, you want to do all steps from the center out. So work across this way, come back this way. Just overlap your strokes an inch or two every pass. Make sure you're not trapping any air. It is air release vinyl, and you can usually get those out even if you get a pretty big pocket, but why deal with it if you don't need to? Have some new wrinkles running side to side there, so I'll pull straight through like before, get rid of them, just like so. Now we have not a 90-degree bend, but a pretty good bend to the fender there. So instead of going side to side, I'm going to start working up and down like that. Well, I guess just up, to make sure we roll it around the corner and we're not trapping air in that space. I'll take it all the way to the edge. I made a little crease here. It's not that bad. I'll just pop it up. Try again. All right, no crease. Oh, got another one. Right now I'm having an issue because since I have no bumper cover, I attached the vinyl to this corner of the headlight, and it's making some strange tension. So now that I don't really need it held up there anymore, I can take it off. Yeah, so one of these wrinkles turned into a crease when I went over with a squeegee. No big deal. That's why I like doing these videos unedited. I can show you what to do when something goes wrong. So I will crease my vinyl. All you gotta do is bust out the heat gun. Now where we go. There it is. Heat it up nice and good. And it heals itself. And that's a great thing about wrap vinyl these days, especially Avery brand, which is my favorite to work with. The self-healing properties are pretty fantastic. Essentially, you heat it up and it goes back to its original shape before it got creased. So that is fixed. Try again. There we go. No crease this time because I don't have the weird tension from when it was attached to the corner of the headlight. I'll keep working my way up to the edge of the fender. Little strokes. Since we are starting to run into some tension here at the end of the panel, I could use heat to pull this and stretch it and make it nice and smooth, but you really don't want to use heat that much towards the edges of the panel, because then down the road, once it heats up in the sun, or you got a turbocharged car, then it gets really hot, the vinyl is going to have the tendency to want to engage in that self-healing effect and start to come back towards the edge, especially if you're pushing out wrinkles really hard past the edge. That can create what's called fingering down the road, and you'll get little wrinkles that start to come out into the vinyl. So heat is important. Use it when you need it, but if you don't, avoid it. The battery's not plugged in, so I need to roll this headlight down manually. I just had it up so I'd have something to tack the vinyl to in those first couple steps. But now I need it to be flush with the fender so that I can work to the edge. All right, So this comes to a pretty extreme point. I will have to use a little bit of heat, otherwise there's no way the vinyl is going to conform to that shape. So let it heat up first so you know how much heat you're giving your material. And then we're just going to give it a little kiss. You don't want to heat just the one spot you want to stretch. You want to heat the whole area so that the force is distributed evenly. Just give it a little tug. There we go. Squeegee that in. Right now there's a lot of extra tension here and none of this is getting wrapped. So I'm going to get rid of that excess material to relieve the tension. Grab my blade. There we go. Vinyl does not have to be heated up to stretch it. My garage is 56 degrees right now. So if I can do it without heat, chances are if you don't live in Oregon or a state like it, you're going to be able to do this without a heat gun for the most part. Your ambient temperature is at least like 65 degrees. It's pretty easy. Alright, so that's done over there. Let's finish up the top of this side. Alright, now I just need to do the bottom half of the fenders. See, I have some tension running diagonally here. Might need to move the camera. You can't see it that good, so you'll just have to believe me. But since I pulled down to this corner, I have tension, some wrinkles running diagonally, so I'm going to pull across them that direction. And they're gone. Keep working my way down to the bottom. The fender does drop in a little bit here. So I actually need to detach from the bottom of the fender so I can work it in. A little bit at a time. Squeegees are good, but sometimes finger's the best tool. You can really feel what's happening with the material better that way. Your eyes are good, but sometimes they will lie to you. And what you really need is tactile feedback. Since there is a pretty big change in the geometry here, I am starting to get some tension built up. So I'm going to get rid of, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the material I don't need, just like I did on the front of the fender. If I could find my blade, I'm kind of notorious for losing it while I'm working, if anyone's ever seen me do an install in person. So I'll get rid of this extra here. Leave myself an inch or two. here I am going to have to use some heat. There's really no way around it. Not a big deal. I'm not going to use a ton. Remember, let it heat up first so you can tell how much heat you're working with. And heat the whole area, not just the part where you see the wrinkles. And I'm going to pull just a little. I probably stretched it like 5% beyond what it was. Just so I could bring the tension that was building up here out to the sides. We don't care if there's tension out here, we're going to trim that off. But only stretch as much as you need to. I'm not going to show any of the edge trimming or corners in this video. Just kind of wanted to show you how to lay the vinyl down on a semi-complex panel. It's got some curve to it. It's not crazy, but it's definitely not flat like a hood. So I'm going to do something a little bit different over here. Angle the camera down a bit. So on the other side, the reason why we ran into a bunch of tension down here was because we worked the vinyl into this little dip here on our way down. So it made some funny stuff happen. This time, I'm going to keep everything nice and smooth below the dip and squeegee that first. And show you another technique you can use. Don't recommend it with matte vinyl, because if you stretch matte vinyl too much, it will become shiny in that spot and it will stick out like a sore thumb. So what I'm going to do, since I got everything done up here and everything done down here below the dip, I'm going to heat it up just a little bit. Since I haven't tacked down the edges where this dip is at, I'm going to be able to heat it up and just use my thumb and work the air out to the sides and stretch the vinyl down into that dip. Just like that. From the middle out, so you don't trap in the air. There we go. And this panel is completely laid out and squeegeed down with no air bubbles and no wrinkles. Change my lighting up a little bit.